welcome back, Andy. How are you, my friend?
I know you. I've seen you somewhere before.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I'm sorry I haven't come over to get the magic compost. I have been swamped here.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm glad that you're swamped. It's better that way than the other way.
Better that way than the other, right? Yeah. So what are we going to talk about? I'm open to anything other than I don't speak Spanish. No hablo español.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's start with plant reaction because it's always an important thing for people to understand. When I'm using biologicals, I'll typically get plant reaction within about 30 days. But when you're using mineral rock dusts and rock flowers and stuff, what is your typical response that you see?
I'm glad you brought it up. I call it the rubber band effect. And sometimes people call me up within a few days. They'll say, "What did you do to my plants?" They just go boing. They turn a bluish green color. And what that tells me is that they're totally healthy. They just needed to get fed properly. But it's always within a month. But usually what happens is that, like I said, if there's some resemblance of health, they respond right away. Like it's one place I've been going to for about 2 months now. Now the citrus got a little bit of growth, so maybe I'll start to grow. See, so they're all different depending on how bad off they are, how far off from left field they are, how no soil they have, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so but it's similar in the regard that you'll typically see even in trees, large trees, you'll see it within about a month.
Right. So I was at this farm today, and I've been there. This will be the second month, and so they have these bottle brush trees. They're bottle brush, and 3 of them were dying. And the owner said, "These are dying. A whole bunch of dying. We had to pull them out. See what you could do." So I was just there today. Lots of new growth everywhere. Lots of little new growth everywhere. They're going, "I don't know what you're doing," but they're coming. That's why I do foliar feeding, because it's the fastest way to get food to them. I mean, we're doing stuff in the ground, but that I learned from experience a long time ago. If the soil is working, the roots are not working, and whatever you put down there is not going to happen. You gotta foliar. And I know only just foliar feed. I spray the trunk as well.
Gotcha.
Right, it goes right through the wood of the trunk, where the can, all that stuff goes straight in. Because this stuff is amazing. It gets absorbed through it, like our skin. It gets absorbed. So I spray the trunk, I spray the leaves, and like today, this thing had spots of new growth everywhere. It's kind of cool. The people who live there say, "I don't see anything," and it's because they live there, right? They see it and they don't notice it.
No, I have the same problem. I'll often have to literally bring a client outside and point to it and say, "All right, can you see, the difference in the luster? Or can you see the difference in the volume of flowers or buds?"
I stopped trying to take pictures because you can't really tell by looking at a picture.
No, pictures don't work. I gave them pictures years ago.
They don't work, and so it's one of those things where you'd be surprised how many people say, "I don't notice anything." I don't notice anything, and I go, "You're kidding me, lady. That tree was almost dead and it's smiling at you, and you don't notice it." So it's been that way forever, because if you're there every day, you just don't notice how beautiful it gets. And then they have the balls to say, "Okay, we're done." And I say, "Well, don't call me back again when they start to get sick again, because you didn't address the problem."
Right.
They did not address. You don't address the problem. A lot of these customers, I have to force them to buy compost. I have to, and now they go out and buy junk, right? They come back with this junk. I go, "That's no good. Nothing's going to happen." One lady bought 10 bags of some crap, put it down. Says, "This is not working." I said, "I told you what to buy." I tell them to buy your stuff. I tell them to go over to Peachtree Hill and mention your name, because you're the only product around that I really like. There are lots of other people making compost and stuff, and when I talk to them about compost, and they say rock dust, "Oh, we don't believe in rock dust. We don't use that in our compost. So we don't believe in the trace." Well, no offense, but they tell me the trace minerals are right in the soil. I go, "Okay."
Yeah, they were.
Well, they were, right. They were. And even if they are, something has to take it out. Something has to get it together to give it to the plants. See, so that's why I started doing almost the first month I got started my business in 1970. I start right off the bat because I say, okay, this it's going to take a while. And I tell people healing takes time, and the root systems are not going to pop up underground all of a sudden because the conditions under there are really super bad. There's nothing there to encourage the root systems to grow. That's why I also do deep root feeding too. And my sprayer is really cool because it aerates. It allows me to make compost tea, but I pump not only the nutrition down there, but oxygen down in there.
Yep. And that's so important because the biological oxygen demand goes through the roof when you start to stimulate it. So without maintaining that high level of DO, you can crash it pretty quick. So
it does, and I learned that from experience because I would say, okay, I'm going to buy some organic fertilizer, put it underground, and see what happens. Nothing, nothing happens. And on top of that, you got the city water that there's one lady. I just saw her the other day. She called me back she has a whole bunch of indoor plants that were dying, right? And I said, well, when's the last time you repot? Because indoor plants and container plants are slightly different in the ground, right? It's hard to maintain biology in these containers. It really is, especially when they repot, you take it out, you see it lined with this white salt of the fertilizer they've been using forever, right? And then I told her, you can use my stuff, but it's biologically alive. You cannot use city water because it's going to kill everything. And that's exactly what she did. And the plant did not recover. And she said, why didn't I recover? Well, you're not doing what I told you to do. Why do you do that? And then you want me to do something different, and you're not paying any attention. I've been doing it so long, I'm getting super frustrated with people, right? I would start talking German or Jewish, something like that, because they're not listening.
But well, I think that tends to be human nature at this point in time. Everybody's got such a short attention span that no matter how many times you tell them, they either forget or they
have no attention. By the way, guys, I have located everybody's emails for books because I print them out, and I'm having a real super hard time working 80 hours a week. And I found the list here. What I have to do. See, when I went up to Amazon, they said we're not gonna. I usually get Amazon to ship the book, but they said we want a phone. I go, uh-oh. So now when you make sure you include the phone because Amazon will call you and say the book is coming. And so next few days, I'm going to go on Amazon. I'm going to give them the list. You're going to get the book through Amazon. By the way, all you people that want the book, I have your email. I'm going to send you a ebook version of it. So you get the ebook version. I'm thinking of giving it away to everybody. Like anybody who's on this show today, all they got to do is send me an email, say I was on your show, The Soil Matters, send you a free ebook.
Nice.
And the ebook's the same thing as the other book, as the printed version of it. You just have to watch it through your computer.
Gotcha. Well, that's fantastic. Yeah. So back to clients and how to, encourage them to be more proactive. And, again, Andy, at the end of the day, even if you send them emails, even if you write them a list, remind them numerous times, it becomes a challenge to really get them.
Okay, wait a second. Ex-Cano. Put that one back up again for a moment. Man, you spelled my name wrong. If you do that again, I'm going to come to your home and shoot you. I swear. You got the first part right, the last part wrong.
Where's the G?
Where's the E? Right, the E. But here's what I started doing, which I believe works, because so what I do is I do a mailing list. I do a newsletter I send out. So I do a newsletter specifically for that customer. It has a picture of their place, picture of the tree, what's going on, and what needs to be done and what you're not doing. The people who hang out the longest with me are really intelligent. They understand that they have to get into it, otherwise it doesn't work. Those that no problem, man. But next, if it happens one more time, you have a cute eye spy, a nice nose. So, but the people who last the longest are, believe it or not, really intelligent. They understand what's going on. You have to show them, tell them what's going on. They dig it. They understand. But the ladies, the people who are really idiots, they go, soil biology? What is that? What are you talking about? And they blow up. You know, they literally blow up, and they go, "What the heck are you doing?" And I'm going, because that's what happens. I get people talk to me and say, "So what are you doing?" And they don't get it. They just do not get it. And while they're drinking their junk food, right? While they're drinking their toxics, you know.
Yeah, that's well. Again, remember they're getting a lot of misinformation, so they don't understand that these types of things are so important to follow through because you can't be there every day to check on them and to make sure that they are.
Margaret's right. Margaret's right. She said, I can explain to them, but you can't understand it for them.
Exactly.
And I've learned. So one of the things I follow Jesus because he has a very clever way of saying things so people can understand it. So that's why I talk to them in that sense. I don't say I'm using this, I'm using biology. I'm just saying they're living things in the ground. You have to feed them, and they don't eat junk food. You know, simple as that.
Exactly.
I saw an article the other day, and it shows you about how misinformation is out there. They did a study. And when I look at studies, I always go to the very bottom, see who paid for the study, right? So the people who paid for the study was the coffee people, not the organic coffee people, the Coffee Institute, which is like pure chemicals, and they were saying that you can't really feed. The article was about the worm farm because I had talked about feeding worms the coffee. And he says, you can't do that because it'll kill the coffee. Coffee's bad for the worms. And so I'm going, well, don't tell my worms that because I've been feeding them that for years. Maybe it's because, and I tried to explain, they wouldn't let me because it was sponsored by the chemical coffee people, you know. And it's kind of weird because I think what they were trying to do is they're trying to make it so that people don't feed their worms because a lot of people have worm farms. They're trying to grow worms. They're trying to have worms in their garden, all that kind of stuff. And there's a big difference. And I talk to people all the time, and they don't get that. Oh, doctors are saying coffee is bad for you, you know. But what they're saying is that there's 72 different chemicals in coffee. What part of that could be possibly be good for you? The same thing with a friend of mine was talking about grapes. Well, there are 72 different chemicals in grapes. And it's interesting too about. I'm sorry if I'm rambling on, but that's just the way I am. So I was watching this YouTube yesterday, and the guy was saying basically food is no longer natural. Here's what a banana used to look like. This is what a banana looks like now. Here's a grape, what a grape used to look like, and this is what a grape is now. The grape is like 10 times more sugar in it than it's ever had before. Same thing with every food you eat, even if it's organically grown, is not the same stuff that we started with since a few hundred years ago.
No, not even close. We've not genetically modified it, but we've crop steered it to be bigger or have.
Well, that is genetically modified. You know, that's not. There are three different kinds of genetic modification. The first one is when you're a farmer, you grow a tomato. Oh, I like that one. You grow that one again. You grow that one. You genetically eventually modify it. It's not. So the other type is that you actually physically modify the gene, right? You add something to it. And the other way you modify it by exposing it to radiation. Those are the three types. It's not. There was a guy went to court, and the lawyers threw it out because they were saying that there's nothing wrong with genetically modified food. This is what we do. They didn't tell the court of the other two types. He only talking about what farmers do. You know, lettuces have been modified, apples, everything's been modified. Petunias are modified. Everything's genetically. So they threw it out of court based on that alone. If I was there, I would say, well, what about when you do radiation? What about when you try to put a Roundup into the genes? That's the stuff you have to watch out for.
Well, again, I still don't consider natural succession or evolution gene modifying. It's
Yeah.
a natural process. It's happening
Yeah.
all the time. It's called
Yeah. Yeah.
horizontal gene transfer.
Yeah.
Where
It happens all the
essentially,
time.
yeah, where essentially that plant is using its what we call evolutionary successional drive to get better in that location. So I again I don't consider that modification. I consider it succession. So I think
You're absolutely right. You're
and
absolutely right.
yeah,
It's
because
not.
you don't want to lump in succession with man-made uh, practices because yeah, you go in there and you CRISPR shit. Now you've fucked with it forever,
Yeah.
or you radiate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've broken down components of resistance or nutrition or whatever that would have been beneficial if you hadn't have radiated it and given it the time to just do its thing naturally.
Me, when I grow my garden, I always let some seeds grow. Go to some plants, go to
Yep.
seeds, and I take those and I regrow them again. Especially if a tomato or whatever is especially delicious, I make sure that I get seed from that one. And also, I found that because I grow them here, they're more environmentally tuned into what's going on here as opposed to being grown from somewhere else. And 'cause a lot of times I'll buy seeds from around the world and I will grow them here. They don't like it, but if one grows and I grow that one, then it keeps on doing it. And I haven't never really heard the word secession. Like, did you say secession?
Succession.
Succession, right?
Yes, it's an evolutionary strategy.
Yeah,
So, because think about it, Andy, way back when we were all in one continent. And as
yeah,
those continents broke apart and drifted, all of those plants and animals, for that matter, were forced to start to evolve for their new environment.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
it took a long time. I'm talking geological time, but still, at the end of the day, they modified.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to because the environment causes the modification. Whatever environment you're in, the plants are going to adapt to that environment, and that's totally natural.
Exactly. And, we talk about um, what are those things? Evasive plants, evasive species, right? This is something that really kind of irks me because this has been going on forever since the
Right?
dawn of time. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Seeds have blown across the ocean from one
Across the
continent to
world.
another, right? Birds have eaten a seed and
Yeah,
it's traveled hundreds of miles.
thousands of miles. Yeah,
And
thousands of miles. Take a poop in there. There's that plant growing.
right.
Yeah,
So, you know, have we humans increased that? Sure. When we started, jumping on ships and bringing all of our stuff with us all over the world, yeah, we definitely sped up that process that happens naturally. So again, is this a horrible thing? Well, again, at the end of the day, people need to get over themselves. They think that, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. No, the problem is it's already been done. What's done is done. Now it's a matter of saying, okay, this plant does better in this environment. I had a long conversation with a tree conservationist up in Vermont.
yeah.
He found an oak tree that shouldn't have been there. And it was like, well, why shouldn't it be here? And he's like, well, this plant is not suitable for Vermont's weather. And I'm like, well, how long ago, 200, 300, 400 years, was Vermont suitable for this tree? And it made him think for a minute, like, whoa, wait a minute. That's how that tree got here. It's been here for 400, 500 years based on its size. So maybe the environment was more suitable 400 or 500 years
Oh, so
ago.
it was a 400 or 500 year old tree, and the guy's saying it's not suitable for here.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't,
He
that
was like,
doesn't even make any sense.
no, but again, these arborists have been taught through, of course, the corrupt school systems as to how, oh well, we need to eradicate species and we don't want species that don't belong. But it's like, dude, I don't care how hard you work at this. Like you're taking it the wrong direction. Like if you go and cut that oak tree down because it wasn't supposed to be here, even though it lived through 500 years and it's still there, maybe in your mind you should think about the fact that it's dropped hundreds of acorns and maybe some of those acorns are actually still viable buried underneath deep in the soil from a squirrel, and maybe that tree now, because of living for so long in this environment, as it shifted, is now suitable for that environment.
I've learned from experience that, see, I'm not a certified arborist, and I've taken the test quite a few times, and I took it again the last time recently, and they changed the test a little bit because it used to be 75% how to properly use chemicals, and now they broke it up into 5 different areas. But a lot of times the arborists say, this is not a native plant, let it die. And I said, it's perfectly healthy, perfectly happy here, and the babies are growing everywhere, so why should it? It's adapting to here. It likes it here, and it'll survive here, and it belongs here just like we do. The humans are all spread all over the place, and the same thing with the animals. So it's just a matter of how you see things. And unfortunately, that's always been my biggest problem. Have always been the professionals. No offense, but they are taught to think a certain way, and they can't think out of it. I know a lot of the certified arborists. All they do is give it more chemical fertilizer, or inject it into a chemical into a tree. That's all they. Other than cutting, I think they make the main money from pruning and cutting down trees, right? Cutting trees, cutting. I had one customer, she had 900 trees, and arborists cut 300 of them down.
And
no other reason that he set up a maintenance program of pruning. We have to prune. How's that?
And that's exactly the wrong thing. Nature prunes itself. Right?
Exactly right. Exactly. Mother Nature has a very simple way of doing things, but unfortunately, us humans are I was going to say idiots, but yeah, we are.
Again, it's money driven. It's money motivated.
Money motivated. Exactly right. Money motivated.
Right, and that's the problem.
Everything is money motivated. I mean, I'm money motivated. I'm going to do work for free, right?
Well, that's understandable. I mean, unfortunately, the systems that are in charge force us to earn money to survive, because we're not allowed to barter. We're not allowed to trade services, right?
We're not. I trade all the time. I say, hey, I'll do that for you. You give me some of this, some of that, and we'll work good.
But it's not common practice the way
it's not legal.
Well, yeah. Hey, did you see all of those, like, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, there was a bunch of bartering services that came out online. They've all been shut down.
Yeah.
And it's sad, because that's a great way of not being a slave to the dollar. And at the end of the day, right, what is your time worth versus what is my time worth? It's the same. Dude, I don't care if you're a painter or a brain surgeon.
Right.
There should be no difference in the value of what you do. Right? And that's another thing that our system does, is it makes you think that somehow you're more valuable. I mean, you've worked with plenty of millionaires and billionaires. They think their shit don't stink.
Right.
They truly believe that they are better than others. And these are the situations where it would be amazing to take everything away from them just for a day and say, all right, go survive, motherfucker, or maybe a week.
They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. No. I go through this all the time. I'll give you an example of how strange it is. So I went to a place. I said, okay, this is what it'll cost you to do this. He said, okay. So I did it. I came back with the bill, and he said, what? This is ridiculous. And he was writing the check. Oh my God, this is outrageous. I said, we agreed on a price. I did the work, and now you're arguing. I tore the check up. I said, bye-bye. You can't do that. You can't walk away from me like that. I go, bye-bye. And I've even known some famous people who are really out there. They're like, one lady says, I'll give you $1. Basically, here, I'll pay you $1 for your work. I'm going. And they treat gardeners that way, because they see name and Miserable Gardener. I think, I'm a gardener, I'm starving. I'll do, yes, ma'am, whatever you want. I'll pay you what I want to pay you. because I'm better than you are. And that's the consciousness I get all the time. I go to one place, the guy had 4 Rolls Royce, you know, and he says, "What do you think? I have a money tree?" I go, "Yeah, I think you got a money tree." and they do not, and it's funny because these people, they make their money whatever, however way, but they don't acknowledge how I make my money, right? They don't acknowledge the value of what I do. They can make, so one guy spent $40,000 for Billie Holiday guitar, right? But he wouldn't pay me what I want for my time. And I've been doing this since 1970, and I've run across people, and I don't have tolerance for them anymore. I can tell right off the bat what they're like, so I'm very polite. And I tell what I do. So one guy I went and I said, "This is what it'll cost." I don't like that. I said, "Did I raise it?" "Well, oh, sorry, I made a mistake." "Did I say 1,000? I meant 1,500. "Oh, no, that's ridiculous." "Oh, wait a minute, it's 2,000. I got it wrong." I said, "You better stop because I'm going to keep raising it." He said, "You better leave." He said, "You better leave," because it went the other way around. He's used to. He picks up people at work, and they say, "I want $25. I'll give you $20. I'll give you $10 for the day. What are you going to do about it?" And it's got, here in Malibu, it's very, very, these people have so much money. One lady spent $25 million on her place. And the people who work there are like, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, 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 right? Yes, master, yes, right?" It's very ridiculous. And I try, it's very difficult. I really hope that I attract people with some consciousness, right? Some people who say, "Well, hey, I want to get off the drugs myself, and I want to get the soil off the drugs. I want to get the trees off the drugs, right? I want to do it," because they realize you have to have the consciousness in order to make this happen. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Because if you're not on board, your earth is already dead. I've learned when I go to a person's property, if they look like crap, they have the same consciousness. They're the same thing. You know, it reflects them. It really does. And a few people that have asked me to go to their place, the place is beautiful. "What do you need me for? Everything's fine here. I just want to make sure everything's okay. I want to show off what I'm doing." Good for you, right? And I know lots of people who make compost, and they shouldn't call it compost. They should not call it compost because there's nothing in there. Nothing. I have a friend, I'm not going to give his name because I think you all know who he is, but his compost is sealed in a plastic bag. Does that say anything?
Yep. Says all you need to know. So, this is why I started using words like GOM, ground organic matter. I made that up, right? But then all of a sudden I saw a study come out about 5 years ago discussing POM, particulate organic matter, and MOAM, mineral associated organic matter. And I'm like, fucking hallelujah. Now we've started to separate compost because compost is a process, it's not a product. So where is your compost? Is it mineral associated organic matter, or is it just particulate organic matter? Or is it still GOM? Is it just ground up friggin' organic matter that has not even composted yet?
Right. And be surprised how much stuff in the market sold as compost. There's no compost in it. It's not. So, and they buy that and they say, "Look, I bought some compost and it's nothing working." I said, "What you bought was CRAP. You fell for it.
Particulate organic matter.
Right.
It has a value. It's just an
matter. It's ground up.
Right. But again, it has some value. It's just not going to give you a response that you're going to see.
It's not.
It's going to take a long, long time for that to provide any value.
It's not. It's the same thing with the food we eat. The majority, the toxin we eat are not going to give you the response you want your body needs. See, it's not going to happen. And they do the same thing for themselves. They do the same thing for their animals. They do the same thing for their property. They're just so used to getting junk in, junk out, and everything dies. Everything starts to decay, diseases, pests. All the pests are having a wonderful time because that's their job, right? To get rid of matter that's not going to grow well.
Right? That's exactly right. They're the great compost machine because they're getting rid of stuff that's not fit for consumption and turning it back into organic matter so that something that is fit for consumption can grow there.
Exactly right. I know a lot of people are so weirded out in the sense that they tell their gardeners, take everything out. Don't let a leaf drop on the ground. I want it totally clean. And of course, then they say, well, how come I don't have any soil? I go, lady, you don't have any soil because the earth is trying, Mother Nature is trying to make soil, but you're taking that stuff away and dumping it away and nothing's there.
So I had a couple of conversations recently. I was invited to speak at a local water board meeting about water conservation through the use of compost, right? And I was very well received. There was, probably 10 people in the room, and we were on a Zoom. So there was, I don't know, 26 or 30 other people that were present, just not physically. And one of the most interesting things that came out of that conversation was that I tried to explain first, but then I asked a couple questions like, you guys, what do you think about the way landscapers are operating here in Southern California? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I go, well, if you grow something on your property, on your, bushes or grass around your house, right? If you're cutting it and hauling it all away, are you degrading the soils? And it was all fucking crickets chirping, dude.
Yeah, like the
So I'm like, please think about that for a minute, because here you are in a situation where you have some power. You are networked with all of the other committees that make important policy decisions. Why has California created all these regulations around motors, engines, consumption of electricity, all of these things, except the one thing that matters the most is that there should be no fucking green bins in anybody's fucking house.
That's right.
All the organic matter should be left behind, either chipped and shredded or mulch mowed. Why are you bagging up the grass clippings?
That's right. So I'm at this place, and I had told you about it. It's a farm, and I watch these guys collect every bit of organic matter, put it in plastic bags, and dump it. And I said, so why are you doing that? They're making. The guy said, look, I would take this home because I know that I can make some soil out of it, but these people don't want it. They want it taken away. So I'm in the process now of saying, and forget about talking to the owners. Basically, I got to talk to the workers. And the owners have basically said, you do what he tells you to do. And I said, okay, don't take anything. So I'm buying a shredder for them. Okay, I'm looking for a good shredder. I used to get a Kemp. It's called KEMP. It's an amazing shredder, and it had grinding. You can take the leaves and the branches and throw them in there. That was my secret for making compost within 30 to 60 days. That I would grind it up very fast rather than wait for it to decompose. and they just haul it away. Every time I drive down PCH, the bins are full with either horse manure or leaves, clippings, or everything. They just haul it away. And the very same people are the ones that are having major problems on their property because there's no soil being made. And then they go buy crap to bring to the soil as soil. So it's really, and I see the parallel between human health and soil health. They think the same way. It's like we're a product. You and I aren't, and most of the people here aren't, but lots of other people are a product of this brainwashing. I saw the other day on TV, eat whatever you want to eat. Just take this pill. It was like, really? Right? And so that's what's going on. And it's very difficult to get. I feel that people are like druggies, like you're a cocaine user and you're injecting yourself with cocaine and you don't know why you're sick. But take the cocaine away from you, you're going to go, no, wait a minute, no. And I think that the people that are hooked on the chemicals are the people, not the plants or the soil or the insect. It's the people. they keep buying into this. I get every week I get a call. I have this bug on this tree. What can I spray? What can I spray to solve the problem? And I stopped trying to say, well, that's not the answer. So people call me up and say, I have an ant problem. I said, you don't have an ant problem. You have a soil problem. They hang up. They hang up on me. So the lady says, I looked it up. It's called sooty mold. I have a mold problem. I have to spray. And I said, well, ants have something to do with it, but you really have a soil problem. Actually, you have a water problem because the toxins in the city water. So I wrote an article about why city water is so bad for your soil. I'm waiting for the city to come down on me and say, you can't say that. You know what I mean? Because that's true. The sprinklers come out all the time, and they are constantly spraying with this. And it's like, you think there's just a few chemicals. No, there's tons of chemicals in this water stuff that they deliberately are adding. Oh, let's add this to it. Oh, let's add that to it. And they add it to control the bacteria and the biology in the water, but they're also killing the biology in the soil. And you drink it. They drink it all the time. One lady says, I love city water, drinking it. I'm going, and you can see by her body is like, oh. And I've been doing this a long time, and it's getting worse.
Oh, it is. It's getting much worse.
It's worse.
One of the other things that's not discussed is what's called secondary disinfectant toxicity. So whenever you have organic matter that comes in contact with chloramine, it breaks the chloramine into these secondary disinfectant byproducts that are almost more toxic than the chloramine.
Every time.
Now they're a metabolite, so that they're easily or they're more easily absorbed by the cells.
Yeah.
And so you think about the way we handle our water as humans, right? We have reservoirs. Everywhere's a reservoir.
Yeah.
We need to store it somewhere until we can filter it and treat it and then put it in our water system, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what comes along with that?
Yeah.
Organic matter. There's no way you can get rid of it because it's being stored in the open environment.
You're going to get
trees and vegetation.
And animals and birds and bees and everything.
Oh, that was another thing that drove me insane. Is the regulatory commission in the state of California is anti-regenerative agriculture because you can't have birds in your orchard. Think about that for a minute. You can't have birds in your orchard or in your fields.
Which is really absolutely nuts.
Who the fuck is going to stop a bird from flying over that piece of property?
Your passport, please. Your passport, please.
Another one was in the cannabis industry. It was like, okay, we're going to give you permission to build a retention pond for watering. And we want, obviously, to use a toxic rubber liner. You can't use clay. And once you have this established, you got to send us a yearly bullfrog mitigation program.
Bullfrog mitigation program.
Bullfrog mitigation. You got to kill. We want you to kill the bullfrogs in your pond.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. So no fish, no frogs, no amphibians, no snakes, no turtles.
So what's happening is their brain has gotten to the point where they're not even paying attention to the way things are normally done. This is the way we want to have it done, and has nothing to do with what's real. It has to do with money. It has to do with this are the things you have to do. It's like having a garden that you have to use Roundup. Yeah. Someday that's what they're going to do. They're going to say you need Roundup.
It's control. It's fucking control. And how are we ever going to get beyond the established laws and regulatory systems that have gotten to the point where they're actually insane. Like, you can't stop nature. We've tried everywhere. We've tried to control nature, and
nature is going to get rid of us. Nature is going
oh,
to. I tell people we are the cancer.
oh
We are
God,
the cancer. We are the cancer. And they say the earth is in trouble. No, 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 no. It's not the earth is in trouble. All life, because it's one thing for humans to take themselves down. Okay, fine. You want to get rid of yourself? Fine. You disappear. No, you take every other thing with you. You take all living things. I love nuclear radiation. I love that. I love it. I think it's so absolutely wonderful that we're growing more nuclear plants. We don't know what to do with nuclear waste. Now they're going to be using the waste products. What they want to do is they want to radiate food with the nuclear waste product. It's a perfectly natural way. They almost passed. They almost passed it. They almost say, yeah, it's natural. It's radiation found in nature. Totally natural to radiate your food. You know, and it's. I just think. And I had this dream the other day. Normally, I have a dream where I'm sitting on the branch and I'm cutting the branch, right? Right. The other day, I had a dream that I was cutting the tree that I was sitting on. I'm going, holy cow! Because that's what we're doing. Human beings have gotten so off the wall that I don't see any way out of it other than to get rid of all the human beings now. Even if a spaceship was to come here and take all human beings off the planet, Mother Nature will survive. Earth will survive, but it'll take thousands of years to get everything back in shape again. And we may not even get back to the same condition where life is so unique. It's not like we can say, okay, humans are coming back, animals are. When you become extinct, you're gone. That's it. There's no way you're going to come back unless some alien brings some animals back and settle that down on the earth to grow again.
well, it's evolution, Andy. I mean, look, the humans weren't the first things on this planet.
No,
and there's been 6 extinctions, and I want you to think about the third one. This one's the most powerful. The third one was when the ice sheets from the North and South Pole got all the way to the equator.
Yep.
This was planet Thoth,
Yeah.
a giant friggin' Antarctic planet. The whole fucking thing.
Miles and miles of sheet.
Yep, ice. And so once that ice receded, what came next? The dinosaurs, right? So think about how incredibly powerful life is, and the fact that it can come back in many forms. Like we don't know what's going to come back. Maybe it'll be the insects time next time. Maybe there'll be these giant fucking insects running around. I
think the difference is that they didn't have nuclear power plants all over the place. Mine are different. See, I have a friend that says, "Oh, we're going to evolve to live in a radiated environment." Okay.
So, Andy, I got a real crazy question.
I didn't do it. I didn't know, man. I didn't know.
How did we get here when we started talking about plant reaction?
About what? What?
We started the conversation with plant reaction.
Yeah, I don't know how we got here, man. It's all your fault. I just followed your lead.
now we're on planet reaction.
And you know what's interesting too about nuclear power plants? Okay, so right now there's only two nuclear power plants in the world that are not based upon uranium. They're based on thorium. And thorium has no nuclear waste whatsoever. And it's named after the god Thor, thorium. Oddly enough, Russia and India have a nuclear power plant based on thorium.
Hey, we do too, but we took it offline because it doesn't make enough money.
Right. And part of the things that they want to do with the radiation, nuclear waste, is to make more atomic bombs, more
plutonium. Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
And chemo.
And what?
Chemotherapy.
Chemo, right? Radiating people.
Radiating the medicine that they know kills us.
Yeah, and I've always in my growing up process, I've learned that doctors are so weird because they are not taught anything basic, anything like if you eat good food. I've never heard a doctor say, "Well, tell me what you eat," right? No, not one doctor.
They're taught by the pharmaceutical industries. Rockefeller bought all of the medical colleges. He hired a lobbyist, one of the most brilliant lobbyists, to go into Congress and convince Congress that anything that was not pharmaceutical was quackery, an exact word, quackery. And so the government went, oh, okay, so pharmaceuticals are going to save humanity, and that's the way they pitched it. And
that's
so
that's what happened with pot, with marijuana. They said, well,
yeah,
the black people are going to come and rape your children, because and the reason why they wanted it off because people were actually growing pot and making medicine, and it worked.
Yep, and the worst part about all of this was that J.D. Rockefeller knew that if he could keep Americans dumb, so that we were just obedient robots, keep us sick, so not give us clean food and give us dirty medicine, that he would create an empire beyond anybody's wildest imagination. And he came out and threatened this. He said in Congress when he was forced to break apart his businesses, Standard Oil, into 7 different companies, which are still controlled by the fucking parent company, which is bullshit. Oh, but now he's not breaking antitrust laws. Bullshit. He swore he was going to bankrupt America. And he has gone, or his family, his legacy has gone about it perfectly. Perfectly. Because they got the whole world addicted to the dollar to a point now where everybody, all free countries are saying, fuck you, America. We're going to go to some other gold-backed currency that cannot be manipulated because we believe that your Federal Reserve was a part of your company, your country. In reality, it's owned privately by private fucking institutions.
And that's what's going on with Bitcoin and all these.
More so the BRICS countries are the ones that have really stepped out and said, you know what, we're gonna have a gold standard. We're gonna back our currency. You know, this is Brazil, Russia, China, Iran, and there's like probably 50 or more countries at this point who have signed up for BRICS currency. And Saudi Arabia just came out and said, we are no longer going to only accept dollars for the oil, which essentially that's going to crush the dollar. But in doing so, he has continued the promise, the threat to bankrupt the country. And he's done it. He's printed more money than we have value and increased his wealth exponentially. And again, don't give a shit about the people. It's not about them. It's about me. It's about my wealth.
And it's very clear. And sometimes I think that the same people that own agriculture, the agricultural product, are also the same people that own the medical products. They're very same.
BlackRock, Vanguard are the kings of the world. They own all of the businesses.
And you can see that. You can see that.
And who owns them?
Eat this junk, spray this.
Dollars.
And they do not like it if you're independent and if you're healthy and if you're doing things that actually works for the benefit of everybody. They don't like that. That's always been my case with me. When I came out, I used to fight people. I used to say, "You're crazy. This is ridiculous. Why would you want?" And I stopped doing that because you can't fight with these people. There's no brain patterns there. There's no logic. That they will. We're swimming in toxics, and we're happy. Toxics, and we're happy.
You know what? I'll be honest. It's like my sister. I love my sister to death, and we grew up together. So she's been listening to me about my conspiracy theories since I was a fucking kid, right? And we had a conversation. I don't know, probably a few weeks ago when Trump got elected. And she's like, Leighton, I know what you're going to want to say to me, but I don't want to hear it because you know what? I just want to live in my world. I don't want to worry about these things. I don't want to take the red pill. And I'm like, you know what, Faith, you're really fucking smart because if you take that red pill, it is depressing. It is fucking horrifying.
Take the blue pill.
But all right, so is it better to be naive or know the truth? Well, hey, what do they say? Ignorance is bliss. And that's essentially how she lives her life. I mean, she goes out and plays golf on a toxic fucking field.
Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is totally idiotical. It's suicidal. It's plain murder. Ignorance means I'm going to take these chemicals as fine. I don't even call it chemicals. I was just going to eat whatever, do whatever I can, and it's no connection to anything that's going on around me. It has nothing to do with any of this stuff. And no, the world's in good shape. Everything's okay. Right.
Well, anybody that goes to the doctor is living ignorance is bliss because they don't ever look at what the medicine. They never question what the doctor prescribes them, right? Never.
So I have these issues with I don't know if you met my wife, but we were married for 42 years. So she'd love to go to the doctor. So I would take her in and they would look at her and everything. And they would look at me and says, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I brought her in." And he would say, "Well, can I give you a checkup? You want a flu shot?" I said, "I don't want anything to do with anything you guys have to do because you're not promoting health. You're not here. Your job is." I like the old-fashioned doctors. You go to the country guy, come to your home in the good old days. How are you doing? You're eating the right food. You're taking good care of yourself. Don't do that. I mean, there's so much chemicals that we're drinking now. It's ridiculous. Beer's got 72 different chemicals in it. Very little beer.
Have you ever been to Europe, Andy?
No, man, I haven't. I haven't, but I have a feeling I should stop by and take a look sometime.
You know why? If you bought, say, Wheaties in France or anywhere in Europe, and you brought a box of Wheaties from here in America and you put them side by side,
Big difference.
There's 5 ingredients in the one from Europe, and there's 50 to 70 ingredients for the ones here.
That's right.
Preservatives, corn syrup.
Right.
That was the other thing. They actually say, carbohydrates. They separate carbohydrates from sugars.
Yeah.
Same fucking thing. You put a carbohydrate in your mouth. Your mouth has biology that instantly turns it into sugar because sugar is one of the easiest energy forms that the human body can metabolize.
Right.
So if you add the carbohydrate to the sugar in total ingredients, the list, you're basically 2/3 is sugar.
And I was talking to a doctor the other day because I have a few friends that are a doctor because they like what I have to say. And basically, it comes down to, 80% of the people in the United States in the world are diabetic. They're just getting so much sugar, and they don't understand that bread turns into sugar immediately. And I was talking to another doctor who said, well, it has to do with the order that you eat the food. And therefore, it's okay if you eat vegetables first and then you eat your carbohydrates. He doesn't differentiate organic produce or even the wheat. The wheat that we're eating now is not the same wheat that we grew up with thousands of years ago. It's not the same thing at all. As a matter of fact, there's a movie called What's Up with Wheat. Tells you wheat is used as a pesticide. Wheat is used for paint. Wheat is used as a herbicide. Wheat is used for all kinds of stuff. But eating is the last thing we want to do because we didn't evolve with eating this stuff. It's not even, your body says, what is this stuff? So it turns it into sugar. Yep. And your body says, I have had enough of the sugar, right? You know what I mean? And it's I think it's more of, it's not a brain fart. I think we are we're becoming stupid.
Oh, that was
everybody off the cliff, right? Everybody off the cliff. Oh yeah, boom. You know what I mean?
These crazy motherfuckers, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, and all them fucking the crew, the elites, right? They want to do eugenics. They want to wipe out 90 to 95% of all humans on the planet.
Yeah.
And in reality, that's a great idea. because it would reset everything, and then it would finally you take all the pressure off of those environments. The cities would turn back into jungles. The urban areas would be wilded almost within a few years. So it's not a bad idea. It's just horrific to think that we've come to that we've overpopulated the planet to a point where the only way to clean it is to fucking get rid of us, or nature's going to do it either way, right? Sooner or later, a super virus.
I think that if it has to do with the human consciousness, it has to do with money. It has to do with, if we get off the money. What's one thing I like about Star Trek? There's no money. Yeah. If there's no money involved, then you're not under the pressure to make money. And if you have, like, people in Africa, all the third world countries are richer than we are in resources.
Yep.
But what do? They go buy stuff from us, thinking that's better.
No, we've gone into. I think the total is 76 countries that the United States has put a coup in place to take over the existing people who were peaceful, put in a military leader who will then sell or give away all of those resources to American companies so that we can turn around and steal them, extract their resources for our gains, keep them in poverty, and eventually they will fight a civil war. And guess what you got? Now that they're fighting a civil war, you're selling arms to both sides. When whatever happens, whoever wins, then you go back and you rebuild their cities for more money. Now you own that country. You didn't borrow it. You didn't lease it. You fucking own it, right? So America's, or I should say, the elites have created an amazingly perfect way of controlling the planet. Like, we're talking, 007 fucking crazy ass shit. They've done it. They've fucking done it.
They're doing it.
76 coups from 1946 through 1980. 76 countries we took over.
Yeah, and we still want to. It's very strange, because here I am, a dude that's trying to heal the soil, but what I really need to do is heal the soul, right? Because people, I tell people, if you want a happy soul, you have to have a happy soil. The two have to go together. So if you don't have a happy soil, by that I mean functioning environment, Mother Nature's doing her thing, and if that's not happening, then yeah, we have to be trained to be zombies. You have to be trained that this is normal, this is the way it's going to be, there's nothing you can do. Keep eating that junk, just take this pill. I mean, the commercials are totally outrageous. You have to look at them and go, what the heck is he talking about there, right? What is he? Look, no matter what they tell me, I'm not going to. It doesn't affect me. Even as a kid, the teacher would say, "You're not paying attention, Andrew." And I'm going, "This is crap. I'm not interested in this stuff," and I would get in trouble. And they would say, "You have to do what they tell you to do." I said, "No, I don't."
I have seen no less than 10 reels or clips or articles about doctors who have basically come out and rescinded on their practices. They're basically finally coming around saying, look, I can't do this anymore. I'm not healing anybody. I'm making people sick. I took an oath, a Hippocratic oath, not to hurt people. Well, it's now a hypocritical oath, because all I'm doing is hurting people.
That's it.
And it's going to take more and more and more of them to come out. But the vast majority of them are, look, don't get me wrong, they're slaves. They can't even, their only job is to diagnose you. They can't treat you.
No.
As soon as they diagnose you, they send that into the fucking the insurance company, and the insurance company sends it to the pharmaceutical company, and the pharmaceutical company comes back with a drug to fix your symptoms. or slow your symptoms down.
And it's the same identical thing with plants and trees and gardening and farming. Very same identical trees. They're not getting it, and it's, to me, it's really a dead end. It's really going to be a dead end because it's not going to get anywhere but destruction. It's not going to get anywhere but more pain, more suffering. It's going to be like that movie I saw where all the elite were living in cities and floating up in the clouds because the earth was so toxic, and the rest of the people on the earth are like the zombies running around doing stuff for them, digging and mining and whatever else they're doing. That's what it's going to end up being eventually if we keep doing this. Or the earth is just going to say, bye-bye, and just poof.
So that's the movie Euglesium.
What?
The movie Euglesium.
Euglesium. What is that?
It's a movie where the elite built a oasis in orbit.
Yeah.
A Garden of Eden in orbit, and kept all the population down here.
Yeah.
Extracting things that they need.
Yeah.
They have biobeds that clean any, cure any disease or any problems. Yeah. And that is in many ways, so one of the reasons I do like Hollywood movies, because they're basically warning you. They have to tell you what's happening around you, because otherwise they break the karmatic law. Yeah. And if they break the karmatic law, then the karma is going to come back on them. So at least in many ways, you're getting, if you're paying attention, you're getting the information that you need to understand where things are going. I mean,
that's why I like these movies, because they look like science fiction, but I'm looking at it and I'm going, these people are foretelling, they're telling the truth, but it's in the form of a movie, because if they say this is a real thing, people will watch it. But if it's a science fiction thing, okay, we'll watch it. There's one called, I forget the name of it, but basically what was happening was that there's a meteorite coming to the earth, right? And they tell people, don't look up.
Oh God, yes. A friend of mine is in that movie.
Yeah, what's the name of it? What?
Don't look up.
Don't look up, right? Don't look up, because it's a fiction. It isn't real. Everybody's like this. And in the background, they were building a ship to get off the planet. And where they landed on another planet, they got eaten up by all this stuff as well. That was my favorite ending, right?
That's a different one. The one that don't look up, they were sending spaceships up to mine the friggin' asteroid, because there was trillions of dollars worth of valuable minerals on it. But realistically, what are you going to do? Put a bunch of rocket ships on a fucking asteroid and try to move it backwards?
I think that's the same one, because they actually send people. Oh God! Oh my God! What is it?
It's. I just want to let everybody know Andy's giving away another copy of his book today. So if you want to get in for the draw, you have to put in #compost in the live chat. So start adding #compost. We'll be drawing closer to the end of the show. I just wanted to let everybody know. And you guys are having a fantastic conversation. So you keep going, guys. Keep going.
I think it's the same one, man. So I think so they said didn't have Leonardo DiCaprio in it, right?
It didn't what?
Didn't have Leonardo DiCaprio, that guy.
He was the star.
Right. So that's the same one.
But they didn't go to another planet. They went to the.
You followed all the way to the end.
I'm pretty sure.
Because they first said, okay, we're going to go and mine it. We're going to go and get all the minerals. That's good. Let's go get it. But then they realized at the same time while they were doing that, they were building a ship to get off the planet, because it was getting closer. It was going to blow up and kill everything.
Oh, maybe that was part of the movie that I missed, that they left. They jumped on another spaceship to try to get away before.
Right. And they landed on the planet. As soon as they got off, they got eaten by all the creatures that were there.
I think you're putting two together, but I don't know.
I don't know. When I watch stuff, I'm not totally there anyway. I mean, I've been watching all kinds of really weird things lately. I enjoy watching these things because I can see some grain of truth throughout it. I love watching. I was watching a one about plants, the secret, like it was a secret life of plants kind of thing. That was really cool. I was
So,
watching
man,
one.
you'll love this. So at Peach Hill Soils,
Uh-huh.
an entire dumpster of beautiful flowers and plants came in. And I saw it on Tuesday morning, and I like locked up my brakes, backed up, pulled into that slot, went over this fucking dumpster load that had been dumped on the ground. And I was fucking horrified that there were these many plants that were being thrown in a fucking dump. They're going to get ground up and turned into compost. And it's like, they're sentient beings. They have more senses than we do. It's scientific data proof. They have 10 senses. We only have 5, and you can call it 6 if you believe in ESP. But that's the most we'll ever have. So they have more senses. And if you really read into this stuff, like they know when you're there. Like there was a study done with houseplants. The person took care of these houseplants for years, right? So they took the houseplants out of that person's house, put it in another house, and this new person took care of them for a period of time. I forget exactly what it was. But as soon as they brought the houseplants back to the original owner, the houseplants got all excited. They started growing and flowering. And so they knew their owner. And now too, with the sensory that we can sense, like create noises out of vibration within a plant. Like I'm sure you've seen it. They clip on to iode and a cathode. And
there's a girl, because she's very young. She created a little device you attach to the leaves of the plant. It makes music. The plant creates music.
Yeah.
And for me,
it's not music, dude. That's the plant talking.
Well, no, this was music. It was a very music thing. There was a very different when the plant was talking, because he would talk to the plant and you get this noise back that sounded like the plant was definitely responding to you. But if you left it alone, it started singing, it started being some kind of rhythmic music thing. And for me, part of the, and I'm glad you brought it up, because see, people often saw it. They says, "What are you doing?" I'm talking to the trees. I'm talking to the plant. I swear they talk back to me. When I go to people's property, they go, "Hey man, what you doing? What's happening? You're here! Oh my God!" And I've always, one of my books is called Dances with Ants. I tell ants are incredible beings. They're intelligent. They're smarter than we are. I mean, in the insect world, all the insects are intelligent. And trees are absolutely amazing beings. And we need to treat them that way. And if we did treat them that way, we would take better care of them. But we treat other beings like crap. We just don't pay any attention to any other living beings. Everything on this planet is here for us.
Yeah,
we're egotistical.
Yeah, we're egotistical cancer cells. So anyway, I never completed what I was going to tell you. So for the next 5 days in a row, I went in there early every day, and I filled my car 2 to 3 times with as many plants as I could. I planted my entire compost pile.
All right.
All these plants are just thriving. You know, I'm getting new buds, although I did attract some rabbits. They were all not annuals, perennials. So unfortunately, but here in California, they're probably going to live for a while. Especially because I'm watering them and they're nutrient rich and biologically intensive compost. So they'll probably do quite well. And then when they do finish their life cycle, they'll be a part of the compost pile.
If that happens again, call me. I'll rent a truck and load up, man.
I'm telling you, I first, you know, I was practically in tears when I saw this many plants, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, they're all sentient beings, and they're going to be left in the fucking burning sun with no water to slowly fucking suffocate. So I went on a mission. Now, I'll send some pictures, you know, or I'll send you a picture of the pile now that it's done. But
I've always been that way. I've always learned to acknowledge other living beings around you. You have to acknowledge them. It's all about your consciousness. If you can't see other living beings around you, then there's something wrong with you, because you're surrounded with living beings. Just because you can't communicate with them does not mean that they're intelligent beings. You know, the whales, the larger creatures are more intelligent than we are. Super intelligent.
Well,
they don't have wars. They don't produce toxins.
We shouldn't talk about intelligence. We should talk about spiritual.
Yeah.
Because they are in tune with nature. They are totally in tune with their environment, where we are totally out of tune.
Well, the thing is, the definition of intelligence to me means that they are in tune with everything. Their intelligence is a different form of intelligence, rather than I think I know this, I think I know that. No, they understand without even understanding why it's functioning. You don't need to know why a car works. You just know it works. You don't need to know a tree works or how the earth works. You just are a part of it. To me, and it's correct to be to say spiritual with it, or to have that's why I use the word consciousness. To me, the consciousness means that the person is aware, that being is aware that they're there and they're aware of other beings, and we're not intelligent at all if we think this is the correct way of doing things. That's stupidity. That's not intelligence at all. It's another form. I don't know if you can have bad intelligence, right? You can call it intelligence. If it's not real intelligence, if we think this is the way it's going to function, but it really functions in a different way. So, right?
So let me ask you a question.
No.
Before, and I'm going to just use this as an example, all right? Because there was a lot of indigenous people that moved around, conquered, killed, raped, pillaged, all that shit, right? But it wasn't really until the Europeans really started to take over America. So it was the Spaniards or the French down south, Spaniards on the west coast, and then of course the Pilgrims came, and we all know what happened after that. But bottom line was that if we as a species could have been more spiritually intelligent, where do you think we would have evolved to? Do you think we would have evolved to a higher conscience being, or do you think no matter what happened?
First of all, we would not be dealing with money.
No, of course not.
We would not even think about money
or possession.
Yeah, right. Or owning anything. The American Indians never said, "This is my land. I own this. I own that." To them, it's a totally alien concept of owning that land because it's not ours.
And now let's be real, because they did have territorial disputes. They did have understandings that we hunt here, you don't. So there was some acceptance to the theory that this is our area, but we move, right? And we follow the food, or we follow the weather.
They didn't say it's ours. They just said basically we take care of it.
And you know what else too, which is really interesting and not well discussed, is a lot of the indigenous cultures don't get married. So when somebody dies in the tribe, they were smart enough to understand you can't just grow, because we live with nature. We don't live off nature, right? We live of nature. So the elders would get together and pick the best traits of the females in their tribe and the best traits in the males in their tribe. And then they would have them breed and have a child. But they
the good old days. The good old days.
Yeah, they weren't married. They weren't required to spend the rest of their life together because they were told when to breed. They weren't breeding wasn't a right. Breeding was an honor. You were honored to be chosen as having the best genetic trait for, we need more warriors. Okay, we need more hunter-gatherers. Okay, we need more witch doctors, whatever the case was. But that's the way the elders took it about themselves, is to make sure that they're keeping the genetic purity or qualities of their tribe both in line with nature, but in line with evolution, with succession, with passing along the best traits for the next generation and the next generation.
And that happened for thousands and thousands and thousands.
Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of fucking years.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
And then all of a sudden along comes
money.
Well, it started a little bit more complex. It started with, and believe me, I went on a fucking deep dive oh God, probably 14 years ago, after 2008, when I woke up and said, oh my God, how could I have gone from being worth $1.2 million to being broke, homeless, and divorced and lost everything, right? And so I chased back the concept because it started as a concept of trade. I have these beads that I make out of coral or seashells, and you have those pretty shiny rocks. I'd like to trade you because I'd like to add some of those pretty shiny rocks to my necklace or my jewelry, or I'd like to trade my my bow for some of your arrows because you have a different type of wood on your arrows and they're stronger. Whatever. But that's where it started, right? And what happened was greed set in. So all of a sudden, my shells aren't worth as much as your little shiny rocks.
Yeah,
they're both from nature. You can go harvest them, right? But that's where it started. Was when one party started to take advantage of other parties.
right.
So it really was greed. Money isn't evil. Greed is evil, and greed causes people to do stupid things like fuck their neighbor.
You're absolutely right. Money is not evil. Money, it's just a tool.
It's just a fucking tool.
If you're a high spiritual being, there's nothing wrong with money. You just learn how to use it. You treat everybody with respect, and it flows. But if you're not, if you're greedy, you want more and more. I have a friend who's worth about 40 million. He still wants more. Oh my God, I'm down to 40 million. Oh my God, right? And it's like, holy shit, man, right?
Yeah, and believe me, I know plenty of people. Like there was this guy I was doing granite for. I used to work exclusively for billionaires. Like I couldn't keep up with them, let alone the general public when I was doing marble and granite. And this one guy was the owner of, what the fuck was the name of that company? It's traded on the New York Stock Exchange. It was a well-known household name. It'll come to me. Anyway, I worked on his house, his mansion in Dover, Massachusetts, for about 4 months. And as we rounded out the project, he had his CFO up to show him his new digs. And the two gentlemen were in the kitchen where I was working, and they were talking about, how much net worth they had. And he said to his CFO, well, now that the shares have risen, I believe I'm at about $1.4 billion. And I was astounded. And I looked at him and I said, sir, I've been working under your, around you in your house for 3 or 4 months now. And everything I hear, from your wife, from the nannies, the drivers, and everybody else is that you work all the fucking time. And I go, You've now accumulated so much money that you couldn't possibly spend it in 2 or 3 lifetimes. Why are you still working?
I want more. I want more.
Dude, that's a sickness. That's like a fucking drug addiction.
I have a customer that's worth $3 billion. The reason why I found out is because my partner looked him up. Oh my God, this guy's worth $3 billion. And he gives me the hardest time of any of the other customers, as if he was broke. And it's like, you're kidding me. And that's why I don't even try to understand how much money they have or whatever. I just do my job, and I charge what I feel I'm worth it, what I should get for it. And I guess they say, why are you so expensive? And I says, I charge the value of what I feel I'm worth. I'm not going to reduce and what they're really paying for is my knowledge, your knowledge. That's what they're really paying for.
Your experience.
Exactly right. That's what they're paying for. And my experience and your experience is completely different than these people. And they want that, but they have to pay me what I want. And they constantly are trying to get it for less. It's a regular, and I don't understand that because I'm not a billionaire. And these guys are billionaires, pay me what I want. What's the problem? but it's not it's a brain thing. It's something going on in their brain. Oh my! Like I said, this one guy said, "Oh my God, I'm down to $40 million. I'm broke." I'm going, right? It's totally,
You're not broke. You're addicted to the
yeah,
money,
yeah.
right?
Pay me for my experience, not my time. Right? Exactly right.
Amen, Margaret.
Exactly. That's what I tell. I like telling people. I don't come straight out to that, but this is. They say, well, why does your liquid cost so much? Man, it took me 40, 50 years to develop this. You try it and see what they get. And I get lots of people who say, oh, I make amazing liquids. I'll teach you how to do it. I don't need to be taught how to make liquids. I already know how to make this stuff. It's been working for years. I'm very good at going to a tree and bringing that tree back to life, health, regardless of what disease it is. And that's the problem that people still have is right now I see more and more people making compost tea than ever before, right? The major problem is that their compost is crap, right? There's nothing in the compost. And then I just saw something the other day. So I go to one lady, she owns MasterCard, and she has a big landscaping company, and she's gone through about 5 different ones because I tell her they're using chemicals, you need to get rid of them. Eventually we'll find, so we found this one company that said, okay, we'll do it organically. And I think you may know who I'm talking about because they went and hired microbiologists to help them. So they became green certified, bio-green certified. And I saw them with a product the other day feeding these plants. And it said worm tea on it. And it said live worm tea. And it comes in and it's sealed up, and I'm going, how can you have anything alive in a container sealed up? How does that work? You tell me.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. It has to do with the product.
Yep. Okay. Well, no, you're right. It's bugs in a jug.
That actual product says live. And if I was to put my mixture in there, it would blow up.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just Ken. I keep telling Ken, I can ship it to you, but it may not get there. You know what I mean? Because I have to send it literally overnight in a like I said, if I was shipping a heart, right? It has to be packed in ice and it has to be shipped overnight. Many times people say, I got your product and blew up. The post office says, I don't know what happened here. It just blew up. There's no way you can put a living product in a container and expect it to not do that. So what are they doing? They're selling something that they think is working. They think it's working because it's not.
Well, again, there's metabolites. That's if you kill everything. And this was a long conversation I had with a gentleman that I did a ton of work for in the past. If I make you a biologically rich product and you kill it, say you add some chemicals to it, add some fertilizer to it, and you nuke it, you are still going to get a green up. You're still going to get a biological reaction because everything is in an ionic or in what we call necromass.
Right.
Necromass is dead biology along with some cysts and spores that can be absorbed by other biology. So it's a metabolite. So it still has value. It's just you're exchanging NPK for another product that only has a short reaction. It doesn't inoculate. It doesn't build soil health. It doesn't build aggregates. It's just a type of fertilizer.
Right. It's just like a fertilizer. It's just like a chemical fertilizer. The plants will react to it. It doesn't solve the cause. It doesn't go after the cause. It just treats the effect to the small degree.
Right. It's a treating of the symptom.
And now I find that more and more people are selling products.
Oh God.
There's no way it's alive. No way is it contributing to the biology of the soil. No way. It's just a reaction that they're getting. And they say, look, it's making it grow better. Well, it's not the same thing as if it's growing better because it's healthier, because the biology is working. Not the same thing.
So I'd love to reel back to organic fertilizers because this was always the biggest problem in breaking into the industry and breaking into the chemistry industry. In other words, going to people that are NPK users and going, look, I have an alternative. we tried organic fertilizers, they don't work. And it's like, no, you didn't understand how to use it. If
Yeah.
you have no biology, then the biology can't break the organic fertilizer or mineral or whatever it is, meal, down and make it plant available.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, because I have lots and lots of people, and believe me, lots of people buy organic fertilizers and they say it didn't work. It's not working. So of course not. If the soil is dead, the organic fertilizer needs some biology for it to work. If there's nothing there, you're going to get nothing. So one lady says, I've been organic all my life. These trees are dying. I buy this organic fertilizer, but nothing. So next door neighbor came over and said, I got something, I'll clear it up right away. Some chemical, poosh, look how green it is. Of course, because it doesn't need the biology. You just shot it right up with the stuff, and it's like, oh!
You gave it a crack.
and it's like, that's a constant thing. Just the other day, the person says, I don't think organic fertilizers they're crap. They don't work. I go, yeah, they don't work because they don't work if it's your soil. If you don't have anything living in the soil to work with, duh. And that's right at the top of my list of things that I deal with all the time, because they go to the store. I'm in this place here in Malibu. It's a lumber, but they sell organic stuff. And the same thing with another nursery. And the lady's looking at it. And she says, I have this. She actually came to me because she saw the truck and says, oh, you probably know, organics doesn't work right. I've been buying this organic fertilizer and putting it over there. Nothing's happening. Then I bought this chemical fertilizer and it happened. So the chemicals work, the organics doesn't work. And I'm going, okay. I'm not going to argue with that person, because that person was sick as a dog. You can see there's something wrong with that person already, physically and of course mentally. And that's totally true. Organic fertilizers will not work if you have dead soil. If there's nothing in the soil to make it work with. People don't get that. They don't get that. Get chemicals, you inject anything, inject it, whoosh. I was talking to a lady who bought a refractometer, and he says, I gave you this chemical fertilizer, bricks really went through the roof. I said, yeah, watch what happens afterwards. It goes straight right back down again, lower than it was before. Right? Yep. You know what I mean? Because it's just a chemical reaction. That's why the urea, that's why 6400, boom, and you get an immediate reaction, but also high nitrogen inhibits absorption of trace minerals. So you're doing two things at the same time there. You're making it grow really crazy, which means the bricks level may shoot up, but it's also going to come down. When you get drunk, you come afterwards, right? The hangover. You're going to have one hell of a hangover, and you're going to be lower than you were before, and there's no trace minerals in there at all. So you're going to eat this stuff thinking it looks good, but the bugs know different. The bugs go, hey, that's food for us. It's always been that way. And it's getting worse. I think it's getting worse because I've been doing this since the early 70s. And even during those days, it was hippie to do. There's maybe 10% of people are interested. I think there's less now than ever before, because more and more people are drugged out now than they've been before. They're following that path. Take this pill. Take this pill. Take this pill. And that screws up your brain, screws up your ability to think straight. And they don't understand what I mean when living soil, living organ. Lady just today says, why do you call yourself invisible gardener? And I says, well, I work with Mother Nature. Look around. You see what she's doing or not? Right? Because everything she does is either invisible or so visible we don't see it at all. We don't see the forest for the tree, or the trees for the forest. Which is it? Which is it? Right? I forget.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I know what you're saying.
It doesn't matter.
No, and the other thing too is that you have to look at client bases, right? So extremely wealthy people don't want to know. They don't want to take the red pill. They love their world just the way it is. They're comfy. They've got their luxury. Everything is great. So if you look at the middle class, or what's left of the decimated version of the middle class, you'll see a lot of people who are like anti-synthetic, anti-prescription drugs. You know, they want good food. They go to the farmer's market. Have you ever been to the farmer's market in Hollywood?
In Hollywood?
It's fucking huge. Huge.
No, I haven't been there.
And it's packed. It's just jam packed with people that want clean food. And so, and if you go to them, yeah, some of the, you know, really good chefs and private cooks will shop there for sure because they know it tastes better. They're less concerned with the vitamins and minerals.
Yeah, this is the taste,
right?
The taste.
Because that's how they maintain their job is by, you know, making the taste buds of the people that eat their food excited.
The really good ones grow it in their backyard. They go out and pick the food, come on in and cook it.
Yeah. There's a couple chefs that have gardens up here in you know, Ventura County that have a gardener or a person maintaining the field, but it's all maintained naturally and organically.
And fortunately, when something tastes good, it usually has the trace minerals in it.
Well, not only that, but nutrition, like fucking real nutrition, vitamins, minerals.
Right. And if it tastes bad, it doesn't. Or you have to get all these other things you have to add to it to hide the taste.
That's the whole thing. That's where all of the supposed preservatives and shit come in. Now, let me ask you this, Andy. Were you aware that when the tobacco industry got pushed into a corner and came to realize that they could no longer lie about cigarettes not being extremely harmful to us, to humans, or to the United States, to people in America, they were pushed into the corner and they realized they were going to lose this battle. So they instantly took all of their billions and started buying up the food industry. And they bought literally the entire food industry up. And then they started they brought their scientists, their chemists in and started saying, okay, we figured out how to make cigarettes addicting and very, very difficult to quit. We want to do the same with food.
Right.
And that's where it all started, dude. That's when all of a sudden there was very little nutrition left in the food. All the food tasted good, but had no value, which was part of the plan to keep people sick, to get them to buy more pharmaceuticals to support the elite.
And that's why sugar is the cocaine of the century now. Sugar, because they grow this massive amounts of corn or whatever you want to call it, right? Which is not sugar as we know it, but it's so sweet you can't help but get more of it. You can't help but eat more of it. You can eat more, but you're not going to get healthy. So you got to go to the doctor to take some medicine because you're dying of illness, of malnutrition while you're eating all this stuff. And it's more. So I have a friend who likes to go to restaurants. There's nothing in any of these restaurants. The other day I said, do you have any filtered water? The guy was laughing. Filtered? Why do you want to filter the water? And this is supposed to be it outside says healthy food. So if the water is not healthy with chemicals in it, and you know, for me, see, I'm allergic to toxic food. I'm allergic to junk food. It's as simple as that. That's the problem when you start eating good food and you live all your. I'm 75. I'll be 76. The doctors hate me because I'm not diabetic. I don't have any, but I'm allergic to. I go in a restaurant and I ate a simple thing. I had migraines for 3 days. The body says, "Why did you eat that? Why did you eat that?" And it's like I don't go to restaurants anymore. I don't like going to restaurants because there's no way. There's only a few places in Ohio. There's a really cool place there, Farmer and the Cook. You know, you can eat the food. Right? There aren't too many other places that you can eat the food because people are so used to eating toxins. If they eat something good, they'll get sick from eating the good stuff. They can't handle they have to get, and these toxins are, so one of the worst things was two things, sugar and salt. And you would think sugar and salt, what could be bad about it? Well, salt's not the real salt you get from nature, it's man-made. And the sugar is not the real sugar you get from nature, it's man-made. By man-made, it's genetically modified. So they came up, you know, with the corn syrup, right? Then they said, well, we need to make it sweeter. So they were going to call it, if you eat this, you will die. So they just call it fructose. And fructose, you would think, well, it's made from fruit. But it's a super modified sugar that your body goes, whoo, and wants more. It's like cocaine. Give me another shot of that, baby. We were talking about bread, carbohydrates. There's no way if I ate a piece of bread, I'll be sick for 2 or 3 days. Just a tiny little. That's what I did the other day. I went out and I ate a slice of bread. Right? It was like, holy cow! And I can't. And I would love to go to Europe or other places where they actually have real wheat, real food. I have a friend who orders bread from Italy shipped here to have, because you can't go. And even if you go, so I went to I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want to get in trouble. But you go to this health food restaurant, health food store, right? And on one side it's conventionally grown, and on one side organically grown. And I'm going, conventionally grown is full of chemicals, pesticides, and all that stuff, right? But you're also at the outside it's health food, so people are buying whatever, thinking it's all good. I'm going, no, it's not. That's junk. This is not. You shouldn't be selling junk in a health food store, right?
No.
You shouldn't. And people go in there going, it's okay. I could buy it. I did one thing interesting once. I went into here in Malibu. The store's not around anymore, but they had a conventional and organic thing. So I went and got an orange for one and an orange for the other one. And I told the guy I'm going to buy these. So I sliced them open and I squeezed one over a refractometer, had him look through it. He said, what does that tell you? Well, that's a 4. So, okay. So I cleaned everything up, took the organic one, squeezed it. What does that tell you? Well, that's 23. So which would you eat? I eat the one with 23. Okay. Well, it's a 4 because there's nothing in there. Imagine eating that, your body will go, I'm still hungry.
Well, yeah, and and another thing too is that the organic should cost 1/10 of what the synthetic.
That is correct too, because I read this study. It was kind of really weird because the study, these guys don't know what they're doing. So they said, we're going to get 3 different plots. We're going to do one organic, one chemically, and one, it's going to be the study, the neutral one, right? And they said there's no difference between any of these. And the other thing that's interesting too is that a real organic farmer, it costs less and less and less and less to grow more and more and more and more, as opposed to a chemical. A chemical farmer has to give up the land and move on to something else and then the food becomes less and less valuable. So it should be the opposite. Organic farmers should be able to sell it for a lot less, but no, they charge 10 times more than they really should. And it doesn't, and I don't think it's a farmer charging more. I think it's a system.
That's what my question was going to be. Do you understand the system? The distributors make all the money.
It's the system that's screwing up. So that's why I tell people, know your farmer. Just go out to the organic farm and deal with them directly. I love that you pick places.
And here's the thing, too, though, and it's unfair when you take scale out of it. So, in other words, if you have a farm that's giant scale, well, scale of economy, it's cheaper to produce, right? But most of the little organic farms don't have that scale. They don't have that, so they're paying incredibly high taxes, insurance, cost of living, expenses. And because each farmer owns his little land, instead of all the organic farmers getting together and renting a huge piece of property or buying a huge piece of property that could let their prices come down over time.
Have you ever heard of Deaf Smith Valley?
Say again?
Deaf Smith Valley, 40,000 acres.
Okay.
All organic.
Okay. Where is it? California?
No. I think they're in. I forget now exactly. They're somewhere in the middle of the United States, closer to maybe around Texas, north of there somewhere. I'm not sure. It could even be in Texas. 40,000 acres.
Yeah, but that's all great, but they're part of the system.
Well, they sell the organic produce at a really good rate.
They sell it to a distributor who's making all the money.
who then triples it. The other guy triples it. The other guy, by the time you get it, it's like it's costing so much that you have to be wealthy to buy it because you can't afford it.
Correct.
And that should be wrong. There's something wrong with the system that by the time you get food, you can't afford it. If it's organic, what it means is you need to just grow your own stuff. You need to just start growing more of your own food. You need to be responsible for your own food. I would love to be a farmer. I would love to have 10 acres of land. Give me 10 acres of land. I would outproduce any chemical guy with 10 acres anytime. 10 years from now, that guy is going to be struggling, paying more chemicals. The food is ridiculous. My place, I could just sit back and let it do its stuff, do its own thing.
Yep.
And I would grow more and more food. It costs me less. I would love it if people come up and say, when I was a kid in Florida, I did my own yard, right? I grew my own yard. I had tomatoes and everything. People will walk by the sidewalk, jump the fence, take the tomato, back out the sidewalk, walk away. And I wait a minute. I said, lady, you got to pay me. Right? So I would put a little cup. And then the lady said, I said, why do you want my tomatoes? These tomatoes are amazing. You go to the store and buy stuff, it's crap. I eat your tomatoes. I don't understand why, but I want your tomatoes. That was in the 6th grade, man, in the 6th grade. and I realized that it's that I really want to be a farmer. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what's going on. I would love to get up in the morning with the chickens. My greatest experience as a kid was growing up on my family's farms. I would go out there and feed the chickens. And these people had a giant pile of compost. I mean, massive amounts of compost. They never threw anything away. The cattle, they killed everything. They ate. They did everything with it. Nothing went out. Nothing left. Nothing left.
The way it's
so amazing.
The way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it was so amazing because the food was so amazing. The fruit was so amazing. And I did that in Florida, too, when I was making my compost. And I actually started trading. I was trading with people. I said, I'll spray your place. You give me those apples. You give me those bananas. You give me this. The city came down on me. No, you have to charge money. You can't do that. I go, why not? What's wrong with trading? Is it illegal to trade in the United States? Is it? I don't know. I don't think it is it?
Yes, it is.
It is? That's absolutely ridiculous because there's nothing wrong with you growing. You have a skill, you do something, and they do something that, hey, just trade it. What's wrong with it? It takes them out of the system. They don't make any money off of it.
I got audited by the IRS.
Yeah.
And I had to sign a sworn affidavit that I have never bartered with anybody. And that they can use that against me if they ever find out that I traded something. They can prosecute me.
You want to trade something?
Dude, that's insane. That they have the power to prevent you from making an equal exchange on something.
And that's what's going on with all these Bitcoins and stuff is the government really says we have to figure out a way to, you can't make $1 trillion without paying us any taxes.
Yep. Agreed.
You can't do that. You can't do that. And that's interesting.
You have to understand the coin is not the issue. It's the blockchain.
Yeah.
All right. The blockchain allows you to hide things that you can see. And that's why the government's going after them.
Yeah.
Worse yet now, a lot of the new coins that are coming out are basically being fluffed up. So there's a group that hold the blockchain site. They create a coin. They sell it for cheap. They buy it themselves, buy a bunch of it, get a bunch of people to come in, starts driving the prices up, and then they pull the plug. They sell theirs, and the coin crashes.
Exactly right. That's what makes it so difficult because I've learned a lot about Bitcoin and about these things, and I've learned how to study them, look and see if they're real, or look at if somebody's actually going to set you up. You'd be surprised how many people fall for this, and they walk away with millions of dollars of your money because it was never meant to grow. It was never meant to do what it was supposed to do. And for me, it goes back down to what I'm doing in terms of how I call it chop wood and carry water. I just continually do my thing because I believe in what I'm doing. I can last for. I'm in my midlife now, so I got another 75 more years to go, right? And I feel healthy enough. But my problem is I'm surrounded with toxins. But and it's true. It's toxins everywhere. It's and it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I keep having this dream where I get dropped off in a helicopter in the middle of a big giant island. Goodbye. Nice knowing you. Take care. See you later. And the fishes would come and talk to me, birds, all this kind of stuff. And that's what I like to do, but I can't do that now. So what I do is what I do the best. I do the best I can do to help people. Unfortunately, I'm in a really weird place here because I just went shopping. I spent $300. I ate the food by the time I got home. I said, oh, I ate my food again. That's how expensive this stuff is here. And I try to go to other cities to buy stuff, but then you're going to buy the crap that they sell. So I can't do the crap. And I try to go. I went to a place that was like healthy food. I said, where's the healthy food? Where's the healthy food? I mean, look at the ingredients. What is this stuff, right? It's not healthy. It's just a label. It's getting worse and worse on that level because people are just, oh, it's healthy. I'll just buy that.
Yeah, but again, they don't put any effort into understanding what it is they're purchasing.
Right. So it's. I think we will be doing this for a while. It says I'm looking for a gardening sense. I think you might be it. Gardening sensei? Oh, a gardening sensei.
Sensei.
Hi, that's really cool. He's got a nice face, man. He's got nice eyes and a great nose.
Kind of looks a little bit like Cheeto.
Who? Yeah. So I watched another show yesterday on YouTube, and the guy says you need to be an expert in whatever it is you want to make a living, you want to make a lot of money, you be an expert. So I'm an expert. You're an expert.
No. Expert is somebody that knew something at some point in time.
That knew something at some point in time, or how about now?
So an expert is, you're an expert witness, all right? So you were exposed to this situation at some point in your life. So now you can talk about it.
I see. That makes sense.
You want to be a good learner or a great learner, because an expert is no longer an expert. He's an expert in that thing, but that's stopped in time. Like the knowledge kept growing beyond that, right? And this goes back to the ivory towers and tenureship and the whole game of education is because they made a discovery. They're going to hold that discovery as their expert certificate for the rest of their life. So they're going to defend that. Even though the knowledge grew past that, they didn't grow with the knowledge because they're an expert now. So they don't have to keep trying.
Oh, well, I don't entirely agree. That's one way to look at it. The way I look at me being an expert, I'm constantly growing. My knowledge is growing. My knowledge is my expertise.
You're a great learner. You're not.
My knowledge is my expertise, right? I'm an expert in this field, knowing that I know nothing.
You're experienced, not an experience. Think about that word.
And that's better.
And that's the fact is that again, I'm experienced, man. I've done this shit for 15 years on all kinds of fucking scales. And I never took anything for granted. I always tried, I would constantly do something till I broke it. So I knew what the high and the low limitations were. And then I figured out, well, okay, I need to stay at these parameters. So that's, again, experienced. I'm an experienced person.
For me, I've learned that I'm actually a very good gardener because my experience has taught me to do what I do best. And what I do best is I'm aware what it is I'm doing and what needs to be done. And it's constantly evolving. I don't get stuck in one realm at all. So when I approach a tree, my experience kicks in. This is what's going on with that tree. This is what's going on with that plant. I'm an expert observer, right? You want to be able to see things clearly and then let your experience deal with it. That's the thing that I have going for me. I have over 50 years of experience doing this. See,
Yep.
and that's different than a lot of these other people on the market now who are calling themselves expert, but they have no experience how to deal with these issues. They're throwing everything at the they throw everything at the wall. Hopefully something will stick. That's not experience. Experience is, well, maybe we should do this because this works. It's worked for me before, and it'll work again under that condition. Brand new condition I don't know anything about. Well, I'll have to look at it and see what's going on and try to. It's like cooking. I have no experience in cooking, but I understand gardening. I understand.
I just wanted to remind people to put in hashtag compost. We're going to make
me, man. It's
5
scary.
minutes. So if you haven't put in hashtag compost to get a copy of Andy's book, put in hashtag compost in the live chat. And in about 5 minutes, we're going to do the draw.
We're going to do a draw. Leighton, I feel very grateful that I got into this because I've had so much fun. I keep telling people, you're paying me money to do something I really, really like doing. So I appreciate that. I'm so happy that I was at just today in the lady's garden, gardening for her, taking care of her vegetables and stuff like that. I'm going, shit, I'm getting paid for this, And the lady's not even eating the fruit. I have to give the vegetables to the chickens. So I'm too busy to eat this stuff. I go to the store and say, why am you paying me to grow these vegetables? Why do you have so many fruit trees if you don't even eat the fruit? I have one customer, 100 fruit trees, doesn't eat the fruit. The neighbor said, eat the fruit, lady. And then they tell me, take all the fruit you want to. And I said, well, why don't you just have this? The company will come to your house, take all the fruit and give it to the homeless. No, I don't do that. But they go, and every time I go there, they bought some more fruit. They're in containers. What are you going to do now with those? I'm running out of room. Well, then stop buying the stuff. And so people have a very strange consciousness, they'll grow it, but they're not going to eat it. That's the strangest thing I've ever heard of, But for me, I really enjoy growing. I really enjoy doing this. And I hate, like my book called Dances with Ants, I hate killing ants. I hate killing anything. It's not it's normal for humans to walk around killing everything. It's hard to walk on something. It's hard to, even when you're breathing, you're killing the microbes, everything in the air. You're killing stuff all the time, constantly. But at least you can give it a try. I like seeking balance, right? I like looking for things that cause balance, not things that cause imbalance. And human beings are very good at chaos. They're very good at causing imbalance and destruction. That's what they got down pat. We got that down pat. There's a new age of mankind. You know what it's called? The name of it has to do, it's a term for plastic. That's the age of mankind. It's a name that means plastic. It's a weird name and means plastic.
Means plasmic?
Plastic.
Plastic, okay.
Plastic. There's no place on the earth that you can't go to that doesn't have plastic. You're
talking about the new age they're trying to name.
Yeah.
Or eon.
Yeah, they named it. This is the age of mankind. It's called, translates into plastic.
Yep. And they're fighting about it. Because
and that is so weird. That is so weird because that's not a legacy a human race should be living behind, right? Because right now it's like this. How do you even get? I especially like these forever chemicals, and forever chemicals is not a person on the planet does not have forever chemicals in his body. Now, I have it too, but you can get rid of these chemicals just as easy as you got it in the first place. First thing is to stop ingest. Forever chemicals are in city water. Forever chemicals are everywhere, and you're literally surrounded in toxins. Literally. So what do you do, right? I want to get a spacesuit, walk around. Oh, how are you doing today? Oh, that's fine. You want some oxygen? All right.
So I think that when you're walking around and breathing, I think you're nutrient cycling. I think that you're not killing stuff. You're just being a part of the biosphere
Yeah.
the microbiome or the biome around you.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that generally speaking, humans get up and they're like, oh, what do I have to kill today? Do I have
right.
in my house, or I have termites?
What am I going to destroy today?
Well,
Here we go.
Well, we got to do the contest.
Push the button.
Push the button. Okay, if everybody's ready, here we go. And guys, Andy has told me that he wants you guys to email him directly instead of coming through me. And Mantis Man is the winner. So, Andy, what email do you want people to use to reach out to you for?
Okay, so you should send it to Andy Lopez at invisiblegardener.com. And you better spell a gardener right, not like this other guy did, because he will never get there, right?
And worst case scenario, if you get an email bounce back, reach out to Ken or myself on IG, and we'll make sure you get connected to Andy.
And just make sure that you include your address and your phone number, because I'll get Amazon to ship it to you. And what I'll do is I will reply to your email, say, hey, thank you for watching the show. By the way, hi, Deborah. I saw your name flash, Deborah Emerson. She was my co-host on my podcast for a while. So she's
perpetual. You came this close, bro.
What? What?
Well, Perpetual's name was like the last name to pop up before Mantis did it. And it looked like it was going to stick there, but it didn't.
So it's Andy Lopez at Invisible. So you see the name up there? Where is my name? There it is on the back.
Yes, Margaret, you might as well.
Invisible Gardener. You put it together.com. And you might as well just go to the website. I personally think you should just go to the website, sign up for the newsletter, say, hey, I want my book, and I'll give you your book. But this way, I'll send it to you. You should email it to me. And what I'll do is I'll send you a copy of my ebook. As a matter of fact, anybody who emails me will get a copy of the ebook. It's not going to cost me a penny to send them the ebook. Okay?
And Margaret, yes, I have already sent Andy your contact information. So
I got it here, Margaret. I think I got it here. I think this is Margaret's.
And Andy, I know you were saying that your power is supposed to go out at 4, so that's almost at 4 o'clock now. So I just to let everybody know, Californians on rolling blackouts again. So
yeah, it's happening again.
Kicked. We know why.
It's actually Santa Ana's are coming. The
Santa Ana. Yeah. What happens is the electrical company can't handle it if they get sued because the equipment is so outdated. So they should shut it off.
Yeah.
Because every time.
Bottom line, they only care about the profits that they make and the shareholders. So they let the United States grid go into friggin' absolute crisis instead of paying the money necessary to maintain and upgrade it, just to keep their fat, rich friends fat and rich.
There are people, when they get the electricity shut off, their life rescuing devices aren't working. Their phone systems are not working. You're putting them in grave danger because you don't want to spend money to put your system below ground. I had one customer who said, "The hell with this." She paid to have everything below ground, right in front of her place. But the electric company is supposed to do that, and no, they have such ancient systems, and it's going to cost them money. And they got sued for a lot of different fires, and they can't. Insurance is ridiculous. We're not going to insure you anymore because we know you're going to have fires, and that means we got to pay out. We'll assure you if everything's fine, but we're going to make money off of that. But as soon as we have to put out money, we're not going to do it anymore.
Yep, they're all in cahoots together. But
everybody in it together. So you might as well just bend over and kiss your ass goodbye.
Yep. And enjoy your day. Get up.
Hi, Michelle. I pay you to bury the.
So, Andy, what are we talking about on Wednesday? I think something about worms, isn't it?
Yeah, how to have your own worm farm. I'm gonna go through the details how I grow my worm farm and what I do with it. And I think that's one of the easiest, simplest way for you to increase your soil's biology is to have your own worm farm. The biggest problem is you can't have a worm farm in Canada. Unless you do it indoors, right? Because the poor guys will freeze to death, right? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, big time. Anyway, and also on Friday, I have a lady coming on from a group that is working on water systems and putting in riparian areas around water systems to save the water. So that's also on Friday on Conversations in Ken's Cafe. But we're at the 2 hours, guys. So with that, everybody wave bye, and we're gonna jump off.
Bye.